Hello. Hello. Yes. Yes. This is yours. A light that lit 1,000 miles, a flame that time cannot erase. In every step this university takes, his reason still finds its place. Today we gather not in sorrow, but in gratitude profound to celebrate the light he left behind in every heart, in every ground. Ladies and gentlemen, and my dear students, on this solemn and deeply meaningful day, we gather to honor the life, ideas, and everlasting legacy of our revered founder, Sri NJY. We request everyone to rise and we welcome the arrival of our esteemed chief guests and dignitaries on the dais. Let us receive them with respect and quiet admiration. Please, everyone, stand up in your respect. Honorable Vice Chancellor, sir, Honorable Chancellor, sir, respected Registrar, sir, respected invited chief guests for the day, and respected other dignitaries. May I please request, as we begin this memorial evening, we want to pay the homage to our founder, Sri NJY, who was a visionary of uncompromising integrity, a beacon of intellectual courage, and an architect of transformative education. The floral tribute is supposed to be done by the invited guest and our Honorable Chancellor, Vice Chancellor, sir, and respected visitors. Thank you, Sri Nitin Madan Kulkarni, sir. Thank you, Sainath, sir. Thank you, VC, sir. Thank you, Mr. Staff, sir. Now, I have asked Vidhunath for the lighting of the lamp.
या कुन्देन्दु तुषारहारधवला या शुभ्रवस्त्रावृता या वीणावरदण्डमण्डितकरा या श्वेतपद्मासना या ब्रह्माच्युतशङ्कर प्रभृतिभिः देवैः सदा वन्दिता सा मां पातु सरस्वती भगवती निःशेषजाड्यापहा शुक्लां ब्रह्मविचारसारपरमाम् आद्यां जगद्व्यापिनीं वीणापुस्तकधारिणीमभयदा
To formally open this memorial lecture, I respectfully invite our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Sir, Colonel Dr. Ranjit Singh, to deliver the welcome address. Sir, I request you to guide us into this reflective evening. Please, sir, stage is all yours.
Honorable Chancellor, sir. Honorable Chancellor, sir, with your permission and on your behalf and on behalf of the President IFI Society, on behalf of myself and on behalf of all ranks, students, teachers, and every staff of IFI University, Jharkhand, I extend a very, very hearty welcome to our revered guest, chief guest, Shri Nitin Madan Kulkarni from the Indian Administrative Services, and with right now the additional chief secretary to the Honorable Governor of Jharkhand. When I was thinking of extending a welcome, again I was in a dilemma. He is our head, department head. Without his support, we cannot move. He holds our hand, go to him. So he is an organic part of our university in everything. Friend, guide, and philosopher. So do we welcome him? or do we only exude our sheer delight and exuberance on his arrival? Let's give him a very thumping hand because the member of the family is back into it. He needs no introduction. Ladies and gentlemen, have you seen a man aboard a flight flying right into mid-air, and then there is an announcement that a child, a newly born child, needs a medical care? And so our guest gets up, he says that I'm a doctor, and the required resuscitation is given to the newly born baby, and it survives. Now, many will be told, because the IAS is a bigger appointment, some kind of a thing, bigger status, and a doctor, sadly, in our society, is not revered so high, they hide their degree as a doctor. And I have made one of the very fundamental mistake in my invitation card by addressing him as Shri Nitin Madan Ulkar. But he is the doctor of all doctors. Most of our doctors are sitting here, but there is no doctor bigger than him, because the man with compassion, he is the man. Now, if you see this kind of a profile, you bow down out of respect to such a man. He has been the district collectors of different districts in Jharkhand, Narswal, Bihar, mostly in Jharkhand itself, where he has done exemplary work, commendable. Now I wonder, when he was the health secretary of Jharkhand, that's the time the COVID struck, and it struck very badly, especially the second wave. So that's the time, regardless of his own health concerns, the man you see here as our chief guest, and we all acknowledge it with pride of an arching chest that he is our chief guest and is head of the formal head in the bureaucracy of our university system. He is the man who went around like Florence Nightingale, the lady with the lamp, and looked after the patients from hospital to hospital to hospital. I recollect that that's the time when the government secretariat in all states or in the center, especially during the second wave, closed. And that's the time the Nepal House was also closed. Nepal House is another secretariat of the government of Jharkhand. And in that closed secretariat, there was one and only one office of open, and that was the office of the Secretary Health Services of the government of Jharkhand, chair adored by our chief guest. We worked day and night. Even his personal staff tested positive. And Nepal House was some kind of plunged into darkness all the time because of other things, and it looked almost like a haunted place, haunted, deserted place. And there was a man this sitting, and he's an Indian Administrative Services officer, but his duty is doctor, and his duty as a servant to humanity surmounts one and all. I, being a soldier, if I try to find a parallel, I recollect the Battle of Kohima, where the district collector of Kohima, then a British Indian Army officer, not British Indian officer, so he was an Indian civil servant, Mr. Charles Browse, he was the district collector of Kohima. So he stayed in his house, and the battle came right up to the residence of the district collector. The entire thing was vacated, and there was a tennis court there in the residence of the district collector. So there is a historic battle of the tennis court of Kohima, which took place from 4th of April 1944 to 22nd of June 1944. Now this battle had lots of hand-to-hand fight, fist fight, to the extent that grenades were being thrown at each other. The British Indian Army and the Japanese Army, they were engaged in a very close fight. And the way the hand grenades were exchanged, that this battle is also known as the Battle of the Snowball Exchange, something like the children playing the snowball. So such was the situation, and by the local major who was taking the battle, he requested the DC to vacate the house, where the DC turned down. He said, Major, as long as I am here, and as long as the Union Jack is there, Kohima has not fallen. The moment I leave, it signifies Kohima has fallen. So that was the grit with which he is there, one of the ICS officers. We have very few of such officers of that grit and caliber. The ICS having been converted into Indian Administrative Services. I salute you, sir. This is the way you held your fort in the Nepal house during the COVID-19. I have been interacting with him because of professional reasons, personal reasons, because in boxing we call hitting below the belt. So that's a foul. So we have a waistline. So every civil servant or any officer sitting in a chair of consequence sets a waistline below which it's foul. That means you have to take lots of pressure. In today's world, the corruption being rampant, pressures coming onto you from every quarter, you have to take on. So you set up a belt line. Anything beyond this, I will not take on. No nonsense below this. Now here is an officer. He too has set his bottom line or waistline, and that waistline would be above the neckline of most of the Indian administrative services in the country. And that's my greatest respect and salute to you, sir, that you mean no nonsense, you're the straightforward officers. So that is the tough part of it. The best part of it is he's a childlike man. Look at his face, a smiling face. He is spectacled. He is a childlike man who goes for a morning jog. In Jamshedpur near the auditorium, he sees a group of boys, teenagers, practicing judo and karate, and he says, can I join you? With the spirit of a child. He joins them, gets interested, and ladies and gentlemen, he is a black belt in judo and karate. So such is our guest, and he is the one who has come to deliver the keynote address in memory of our great founder, Shri Nanduri Jagannath Yashasvi Ji, who himself was a great financial expert, a great public servant, and a great educationist. So there could have been nothing matching, nothing more befitting than this, that one great man pays tribute to another great man, and he delivers the keynote address. To sum up, here we have our chief guest, who is an officer of ethos, empathy. Ethos, I told you the way he did COVID. Empathy, that I told you about the small baby Paul. And a tough bottom line, a no-nonsense man, the way he conducts himself in the ministry and everywhere. With that, I sum up my welcome and thank to our chief guest, and I request our Honorable Chancellor to deliver the opening address for this key memorial lecture. Thanks.
Good afternoon, everybody. Our distinguished chief guest, Dr. Kulkarni, Vice Chancellor, Dr. Karnal Singh, my colleague in head office, Professor Sainath, Registrar, Dr. Patna, Professor Patnaik, members of the faculty, students. Today is a very emotional day for me in person because I knew Mr. NJY from 2004. When I put in my papers for voluntary retirement in NABARD as Chief General Manager, one of my friends suggested that he was also a Chief General Manager like me, and then later on he became Director General of the Indian Banking Institute at Delhi. He said that I know NJ very well, why don't you go and meet him? So around 2004, I was serving my notice period. I was passing through Hyderabad. I met Professor Yashasvi. He asked me, well, I've seen your profile, will you teach? I said, no, I'm far away from teaching. I am an administrator. I did my PhD from Andhra University, and I taught for 5 years in the first correspondence course that was set up in the country and all that. But later on, I was a banking administrator, basically, both in Reserve Bank and NABARD. So teaching, I lost touch. Then he said, well, there is no connect between what I want and what you are. I said, fine, your tea is good. I liked it. I'm going. So I moved out and I went to Chennai for some administrative work. Within 2 days, there was another colleague another gentleman who was also sitting in the interaction with me with Mr. Great NJY. He rang me up and said, were you offended by NJY's remarks? I said, no, he was chief and he didn't find a connect, and I have my job and I'll get my pension. There's nothing to worry about. No. Why don't you reroute your trip and come back? He wants to take it. I said, what is the sudden change of mind? No, I'll tell you later on. So I rerouted my flight. I was to fly directly to Calcutta. I rerouted, came to Hyderabad. And when I entered his office, he said, welcome to ICFI. When are you join? I said, look, I'm serving my notice period. I have to wait. And my resignation has to be approved both by governor and the governor, because we are partly regulatory authorities. So it has to get the clearance of the governor of RBI done. Then he said, fine. Then we walked. I came back to Calcutta. And then he came to my office. When he came to Calcutta, he saw me and then he said, come and join. Why I'm telling you about this is a very unique personality. I want to give a brief background about Professor NJY because he stood first in CA, and the rank and the marks which he got yet to be broken by anybody till now. And he was the father of leasing in India. The entire concept of leasing was designed by him. And how this ICFI came about is, he was a faculty member of the Administrative Staff College, along with Besant Raj, who was a famous finance professional. There was somebody from America who came to Administrative Staff College to deliver a series of lectures on finance. And these people were listening to that, and at the end of the lecture, they went to that person and said, what you spoke went above our head. We don't know what is it. I am a chartered accountant, and he's another management finance man. But what you spoke went above our head. They said, this is what chartered financial analyst is. And NJY, see, I'm telling you how strategic he was. He immediately asked what is CFA means. Then the gentleman explained the different ingredients of CFA program. Then and there, he took a spot decision that he will quit Administrative Staff College and start a CFA Institute on the spot. So the ICFI means earlier Institute of Chartered Financial Analysts of India. This is how we started. CFP, he went to America, talked to CFA guys, got the Indian franchise, and started the thing at Hyderabad. Then came the boom of business schools. Now, in between Administrative Staff College and the CA, he was also a finance executive in the famous Nagarjuna Fertilizers. Now, if you go into the management history of Nagarjuna Fertilizers, the chairman is a man who was a different person himself, because in these people, there is no thing called expansion. They believe in explosion. Nagarjuna Fertilizers also did the same thing. They exploded all over the country. NJY also did the same thing. He didn't, for him, there is no, in his dictionary, there is no expansion. There's only explosion. Not one business school, 8 business schools. He also talks in multiple terms, 10 business schools. We started ICFI National College, 600 colleges in one go. So the person takes the leaps and bounds, he jumps. And he's a brilliant strategist by himself. Second aspect of him is that he believed in inclusive leadership. People working with him were also part of decision making. There are many days, many meetings I remember when I joined on the board of ICFI, where initially I thought, because I came from a very highly hierarchical institution, both RB and NABARD, just like akin to government. If the boss says yes, it is yes. If the boss says no, it's no. I mean, we don't have the guts to say no, we disagree with you. That doesn't work in RBI and NABARD. That doesn't work. But here, I was thinking, because 28 years it went into my DNA to say yes and all. Suddenly, the boss of the ICFI asked, what do you feel? I said, as you say, sir. Then he called me one day. He said, you leave your NABARD uniform outside. This is private sector. I want honest opinion from you. Then I said, it's no. I thought you will misunderstand me, but he never. So the inclusive leadership is to encourage every one of us to give and even disagree with him. And regarding strategy, he used to invite brainstorming sessions, he used to ask people, what shall we do? People used to come with different ideas. Each idea is examined in detail. The pros and cons, whether feasible or not feasible. This is the third aspect of it. He never said, no, what I say is correct and what you say is wrong. Or you say my way or highway. That approach is not there. The fourth idea which I liked in him was very different. He was very committed to the organization and the people who are working with him. He ensured that the salaries are paid on the last day of the month. He ensured that. There was one occasion, I remember in 2006, for some banking glitch. The registrar did not credit the salaries on 31st. And Mr. NJV didn't come to know about it for almost up to 5th. On 6th, the registrar had got his head chopped off virtually. How dare you do that? We have funds, they have family budgets, you have to put the salaries on the last day of the month. That was his concern. He introduced so many other things like insurance, medical insurance, whole lot of things he has insured. And we were the first institute. And this ICFI also, he had a commitment towards developing less developed areas. Like initially we started with Hyderabad and Dehradun. Then he had a meeting with President Abdul Kalam at that time. President Abdul Kalam said, why don't you go to Northeast? You have got so many business schools. Immediate decision. He said, he told President, sir, if you intervene and tell the chief ministers, because acts have to be passed, I don't mind setting up. The president, true to his word, Mr. Abdul Kalam, wrote a letter to all the governors saying that I found an entrepreneur who is willing to come to your state. You have to pass the private university acts. All our acts were passed in Mizoram, Nagaland, Meghalaya. The government took initiative. We on our own, we kept our part of the bargain. That's how we are. After we entered, mostly after 15 to 20 years, now we are having some private universities in the Northeast. We were the first one to enter. First one to enter, first one to comply with UGC guidelines, first one to have a brick and mortar campus there, first one to recruit people. We did hit our balance sheet, but still we continue. Because there was some surplus being generated in the Hyderabad outfit that was distributed. Then came other areas like Jharkhand, Raipur, Himachal Pradesh. We entered there because same support was given. So the person had a commitment to work for the country. These are all his positive attributes. And he was very young. We never knew that he will pass away. As a matter of fact, on 2011, August, a review meeting was scheduled with my department. And I got a phone call saying that he was not well and can we postpone. He never said I am postponing. He was asking our session, my session, will it be okay if I postpone your review meeting for a couple of days more? I said, okay. Then he joined Apollo Hospital for a very routine examination. But he had one thing which he did not disclose to the doctors. He was on his own medication. So he was taking blood thinners by dozens. And he did not tell this to the doctors. I mean, clear oversight or something like that happened. As a doctor, Dr. Kulkarni will know. He was, once or twice when he was taking out packets of anacin, I asked him, sir, what is this? No, I am having backache. One tablet, after one tablet, after one tablet. He was taking so many blood thinners. When these things were happening, as a matter of fact, on October 8th, he was very okay. I went and met him. He had breakfast, he was reading the paper. On 11th, I don't know whether it's because of the blood thinners or something, there was a brain hemorrhage. And the heart was not supporting the body. I was in a meeting with the chairman of the Andhra Bank for some project of ICFI. I got a call from the president of the society, Mr. Shankara, saying that Mr. NJY was critical. So I rushed back. Then I asked the doctor what happened. He said, he has not. Then his wife told that he was on blood thinners, and that was too late. They were not able to control the hemorrhage. That's a very sad way of a visionary, a legend of a person, a great educationist. He left us. Had he been alive, he would have done so many things. So we are having, why I'm telling it is, the characteristics of NJY, from what I heard from the Vice Chancellor, the characteristics of the President today, Chief Guest today, they are almost aligned. So, I don't know, Mr. Dr. Kulkarni, after retiring from Indian Administrative Service, may take some entrepreneurship and become like NJY. We all wish him, because both the tenacity of purpose, the way in which NJY worked, and what I heard from the Vice Chancellor narrative, the way in which Dr. Kulkarni worked for COVID time, there seems to be a perfect alignment and match. Sir, we are waiting for the day when you become an entrepreneur in a chosen field. So we have selected a very good chief guest, an apt selection for delivering NJY Memorial Lecture. I don't want to stand between you and him. We will hear Dr. Kulkarni. On behalf of the ICFI University Jharkhand, I am very, very grateful to him for having come here to deliver the NJY Memorial Lecture. Let's see here to what he says. It's all yours.
Thank you, sir. Your words always remind us of the values of the founders. So, now can I please invite our chief guest for the evening today to address the gathering. I have a long introduction of Sir written, but after our honorable Vice Chancellor Sir and Chancellor Sir spoke, I don't think I need to speak much.
So, first of all, I must profusely thank Colonel Ranjit Singh for that introduction. And I hope you have got the keywords out of it. And the last line was important, the black belt thing. That was told only to ensure that all of you are awake and all of you clap properly when you hear the lecture. Okay, jokes apart. Honorable Chancellor Sir, Dr. T.R. Rao, Honorable Vice Chancellor, Colonel Dr. Ranjit Singh, Professor Sainath, Registrar Professor Patnaik, Deans and esteemed faculty members, administrative staff, and most importantly, all the dear students who are present. I was told that management, engineering, and law faculties are sitting here. So, namaskar, johar, and very good evening to all of you. So, it's indeed a privilege and a humbling responsibility, I must say. I'm not very fond of delivering such type of what you say keynote addresses or foundation day lectures. I think this is only third occasion which I am doing it. So I have accepted it with all humility and as my reverence to the great soul. So I stand here today at this NJY Memorial Lecture. It's a platform that embodies intellectual inquiry, ethical reflections, and pursuit of excellence. As very nicely and aptly described by Professor Rao, NJY life reminds us that education is not merely transmission of knowledge, but it should awaken the judgment, cultivate ethical discernment, and instill the courage act decisively in the service of society. This occasion provides a rare and meaningful opportunity to reflect upon the life and philosophy of founder of ICFI and a visionary leader as NJY. SSVG embodies something quite rare in public life, the fusion of intellectual discipline with moral clarity. I think that combination of thoughtful analysis and ethical anchoring is exactly what India needs as we look towards 2047. I pay my sincere tributes to this legend on this occasion. Coming to the theme today, strategic leadership and administrative excellence for India at 2047. It's basically a question that itself is the most critical challenge and extraordinary opportunity confronting the nation today. All of us present, every one of us, right from that corner to this, has own ideas and views about India at 2047. They have their own expectations, own perceptions. Obviously, I do not possess the wisdom tooth to be able to chew this vast topic. But I cannot even put forth a comprehensive or a complete solution or correct answer. But as a person who has spent 3 decades in public service and government sector right now, I am trying to share my views on this topic. I am just submitting these views. You may agree, you are free to disagree. I will be happy if you are able to disagree. As we contemplate India in 2047, the centenary year of our independence, we are invited to reflect what kind of country, what kind of nation we will be living for the next centenary, for the next generations. What will be the pillars of its success? Will it be only economic growth or technological advancement, ethical governance, or the enduring strength of our institutions? What are we looking at? And last but not the least, how the leadership, administrative excellence, and citizen agency converge to realize this vision. The theme doesn't mention citizen agency, but to me, it is the most important part of this triad. Unless your leadership, that means political leadership, executive, and the citizens, unless these three complete the triangle, otherwise the gap will always be there. When we talk of leadership, it is often misunderstood as exercise of authority or possession of power or title. But true leadership is about responsibility, foresight, and moral courage. It is the ability to pursue long-term challenges, anticipate societal shifts, mobilize collectively towards a shared purpose. Leadership is not merely making decisions or exercising authority, which most of us think. At its core, leadership is a service. a service that carries consequences far beyond the self, affecting billions of lives. I always say when I sign a file sitting in my cozy AC chamber, I don't even know what are the likely consequences to whom and what type of people it is going to affect in what way. I may think in my myopic vision, not beyond that. Every choice, every policy, every act of governance shapes the lived experience of the people and the trajectory of nations. Acharya Vinoba Bhave have captured this very elegantly when he said, नेतृत्व सत्ता नहीं सेवा है और सेवा का सर्वोच्च रूप है मनुष्य की क्षमता को मुक्त करना. I think we need to ponder upon this thought. So today we stand, our country stand at what economics called as developmental inflection point. Shifting global supply chains, demographic momentum, rapid technological disruptions. India's leadership challenge is not incremental but structural. It echoes the observation of Douglas North, the Nobel laureate economist, who argued that societies progress when institutions evolve faster than the shocks. Strategic leadership thus requires us to anticipate these shocks, design for resilience, and cultivate our institutional adaptability for such type of shocks. Strategic leadership in a country as complex and diverse as India requires vision that stretches decades ahead. Yet, it remains responsive to present realities. Leaders have to balance optimism with realism, ambition with prudence, and decisiveness with reflection. You might have heard these lines of Harivansh Rai Bachchan. जो बीत गई सो बात गई, जीवन में एक सितारा था, माना वो बहुत प्यारा था, वो डूब गया तो डूब गया. From a policy perspective, these lines reminds us that part dependency, which is very common in the government sector, part dependency, which is also often discussed in political or economy, cannot become an excuse for stagnation. Just because something is going on for years, it cannot constrain us. Historical choices shape us, but they need not bind us. The past informs us, but it must not constrain our imagination. Strategic leadership, to me, is the art of imagining the trajectories beyond these inherited constraints. Geopolitical volatility, economic uncertainties, technological disruptions, climate crisis, information degradation makes this entire world a very complex and ambiguous to be. Strategic leadership requires courage to act decisively, even the path is uncertain. Navigating through these tough times requires a fundamental shift from our maintenance and status quoist approach to mission mode approach. Leadership in public service is not merely a function of intellect or competence. It is fundamentally a moral enterprise. It requires navigating the plurality of competing values. A leader must balance efficiency with equity, growth with sustainability, and present urgency with future responsibility. John F. Kennedy had said, leadership and learning are indispensable to each other. I think in today's world, this is the most crucial for all leaders. To learn, unlearn. This is the very difficult part of it. We are ready to learn, many of us are ready to learn new things. But unlearning what you have already learned due to changed context is very difficult to do. Learn, unlearn, and relearn. And this cycle, it's a virtuous cycle which keeps on going on. So finally, leadership is also about legacy. Every decision, every policy, every act is going to leave an imprint on social, cultural, and institutional fabric of the nation. A reflective leader will constantly ask, will this choice empower the next generation? Will it strengthen my institutions? Will it uphold the justice for the last person? The ethical compass must always guide us, the hand that shapes the future. Only through such reflection can our leaderships attain the enduring impact that India will require in 2047 and beyond. If leadership is conceptual, the administration is institutional. Max Weber's classic model of bureaucracy, emphasizing rationality, predictability, procedural fairness, created the foundation of modern public administration in our country. Yet, modern governance and administrative excellence must go beyond this Weberian efficiency and move towards polycentric governance, adaptive implementation, and state capability enhancement. In India, the administrative excellence increasingly means ability to reconcile competing imperatives, efficiency and equity, technology and trust, scale and sensitivity. Our governance system has moved from simple rule making to complex problem solving. Policies now require behavioral insight, as advocated by Sunstein and Thaler, evidence-based iteration, and continuous institutional learning. Leadership will set the direction, but administrative excellence will ensure the execution in that proper direction. Policies, no matter how well intentioned they are meaningless without competent implementation. Since administrative excellence will require ethical integrity, operational efficiency, and empathetic engagement with the citizens. Our administrative system, what we call the steel frame, needs to become technology friendly, retaining the structural integrity, but adding flexibility, responsiveness, and citizen centricity. Today, technology offers extraordinary opportunities. We all are aware about AIs, blockchain, drones, deep learning, machine learning, whatnot. These are all very attractive and eye-catching. But think about it, can it replace the human judgment and empathy? One should never forget the human face of the lowest rung of society while taking any decision when you are sitting in a public chair. As public servants, we have to focus on building the systems and institutions. Today, Dr. Varghese Kurian is no more, but Amul is an international brand. It still survives and it is going way ahead. Same can be said about our ICFI Foundation, whose founder has built and left a permanent imprints on this educational scenario. So vision will inform the execution, ethics will guide the strategy, but institutions uphold both of these. And hence institutional resilience is what is vital element if we want to ensure that India progresses at 2047. Administrative excellence is not only about rules, it is about creating the systems that endure, adapt, and deliver the governance that is just, effective, inclusive, and empathetic. All of us have heard about our what you call demographic dividend. Today, we have something which many nations envy, a large young population, almost 35 to 40%. But demography is not a destiny. It becomes an asset only when converted into capability. I was discussing with director of IIT Madras a few months ago, and he said it is very sad state of affairs that today we have engineers but we cannot employ them because they don't have the necessary skills which are required on the shop floor or in the completely automated systems of today. I think that has hit me very hard, that our system requires skilling and capability building. Just by having young population doesn't help. Demographic dividend is realized not merely through numbers, but through education quality, skills, health, and productive employment. Be watchful of your health. So today's youth are digital natives. They inhabit what is famously termed as a network society. Their learning is non-linear, their aspirations are borderless, and their methods are disruptive. They value autonomy over authority, collaboration over hierarchy, and purpose over procedures. The youth are the authors of India's future. They are not mere passive recipients or co-passengers on this journey. They are innovators, creators, and catalysts of systemic change. In Jamshedpur, one of the rural schools, one class 11 student had used this line very nicely about 4 or 5 years ago. Sir, हम गांव में बैठकर भी global सोच सकते हैं. This is not mere aspiration. It represents the convergence of connectivity, aspiration, and confidence, what sociologists call aspirational society. So today, India is an aspirational society. This generation is locally rooted, yet globally oriented. But for youth to shape the India of 2047, they have to be integrated not as pure beneficiaries, but as policy co-creators. Models like participatory governance framework, youth deliberative council, innovation sandboxes used globally can offer the pathways for institutionalizing youth voices. Nations that have harnessed their demographic window, like South Korea, Singapore, Ireland, did so by creating the ecosystems where youth could fail, innovate repeatedly, and contribute meaningfully. The Bharat of 2047 will depend on whether we can build such ecosystem with courage and foresight. Our Republic in 2047 will not be judged solely by GDP numbers or rankings, technological superiority or global influence. These are important, but insufficient if they are diverse from ethical governance, social inclusion, and sustainability. When we speak of India at 2047, we must be wary of romanticism and fatalism both. Instead, we need some analytical clarity. Quoting Amartya Sen's capability approach to the human capital thesis advanced by Schultz and Baker, development literature repeatedly tells us that a nation's economic trajectory is shaped by its investment in the people. The biggest capital any country can have is its human and social capital. Technological advancement, whether through AI, green energy, or frontier industries, must be complemented by human development, institutional reforms, and ethical governance. Tagore's famous line, "You can't cross the sea merely by standing and staring at the water," symbolizes what policy scholars describe as a gap between intent and implementation. India's journey to 2047 requires a state capable not only of conceptualizing ambitious strategies but of implementing them with fidelity of scale. Vision without execution, ambition without discipline, and strategy without ethical grounding will never translate into humane progress. Leaders of 2047, whether political or administrative, must need to be analytical, reflective, and morally anchored. Our challenge is not only designing policies, but designing the government policy, government capacity, institutional coherence, and long-term accountability. In conclusion, to build the institutions that last, to empower youth as co-authors of our national story, to anchor the administration in ethics and evidence, and to imagine India at 2047 with ambition but also with responsibility, I will use Atal Bihari Vajpayee's lines, "अंधेरों से लड़ने वाला सूरज जल्द ही निकलेगा, हमें तो बस उसके आने की आहट बनना है." Our task is to be early footsteps of that dawn. And to all the young friends sitting here, you are the ones who are going to be around in 2047. Many of us may not be there at that time, but you are certainly there. So whatever you are doing today, whatever you are thinking today, remember it is for your own future. So you are either making that future or spoiling that future. तो ये भारत की जो कहानी है ये अभी पूरी नहीं हुई है, अब इसकी कलम हम लोग आपको दे चुके हैं. So write it with your wisdom, lead it with courage, and dream with integrity, and shape the India that you will be proud of and world will admire. Thank you very much. Jai Hind.
Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot for your reflections on such a vital topic. It was really encouraging and thought-provoking for the students of NJY University, Jharkhand, and I promise you on their behalf that they will follow all the instructions and guidance given by you today. To offer concluding remarks on the memorial lecture, I now invite the Honorable Chancellor, Sir, Dr. T.R.K. Rao, for the closing address. Sir, please.
After an illuminating talk and lecture by Dr. Kulkarni, I was able to grasp that he placed considerable emphasis on ethical aspects of leadership. Dr. Kulkarni, you may be glad to know that the ICFI group's motto is Meritium Ethics. That means merit with ethics. This is how our founder coined the word Meritium Ethics. We follow it throughout in all the 11 universities. We follow this motto. Now, there are other things Dr. Kulkarni said, how you manage the technology, how you bring the human values in the technological evolution, without which mere technology is of no use. And how do you manage the strategic dimensions of leadership? I want to give a small anecdote. Way back in 1973, when I was just finished my PhD, joined the Andhra University as a faculty. That's the first time we introduced some professionalism in the local cricket clubs. So I was a part-time manager of a cricket club promoted by ITC. Manager, no? Because we introduced anybody who scores 50 runs will get 50 rupees. Anybody scores 5 wickets, he will get 100 rupees. Like that, we not much before Australian Parker, who introduced professionalism, we introduced it. And I came to in close association with ITC. At that time, the great manager, professional manager, late A.N. Huxer was the chairman of ITC. Once Huxer called all his vice presidents to Ooty and locked them up in different cottages and said, here are 20 sheets, write down what will be ITC's profile, what will be the ITC's different business dimensions after 20 years. Initially, the vice presidents were not used to this kind of a thing, because if you look at ITC history, the parent company started at the same time when Magna Carta was there. It was known as Imperial Tobacco Company, ITC stood for Imperial Tobacco Company. Their job was to help promote cultivation of tobacco in India, cure it into cigarettes and sell it. Even today in ITC balance sheet, if you see the segmental accounting, the tobacco business is very high. The turnover from tobacco is very high. But Huxer was a visionary. He thought, and he correctly thought, selling cancer sticks will not survive. And whereas entire ITC marketing ethos is to sell a product that burns from both ends. So how do we change it? But Huxer followed the strategy. He consulted his vice presidents, and everybody gave different opinions. And today, if ITC is not much known for cigarettes, the first thing he did was he changed the Imperial Tobacco Company to ITC. Simple. Only 3 words, 3 letters. So now we know ITC is something for Ashirwad Atta, for expression greeting cards, for hotels, 5-star hotels, and they have their computer division, and they have Bhadrachalam paper boards which supplies. So the entire diversification strategy was done, and he ensured that at the time when even negative action starts against cigarettes, that company will be secured. Whereas you compare what happened in America, Philip Morris, which was also selling cigarettes. There was a class action suit in America for 300 billion. Philip Morris sank virtually. But ITC has 27 brands of cigarettes. It doesn't advertise. Though the revenue comes up, it doesn't advertise. They were actually having made for each other contest, which was the tagline for Will's Filter. But Akshay said no, because inadvertently I'm promoting Will's Filter. That is not my aim. He cancelled the made for each other contest. Instead of that, they have gone into sports. They promoted cricket for quite some time. They were sponsoring national tournaments, Indian cricket team, everything. So you see how a tobacco company with a strategic leadership, though it is though tobacco is cancerous to health and it's still producing 27 brands, but it made us forget that it is not a tobacco company. It is known for various other things other than tobacco. Understand? So this is one of the dimensions of strategic leadership. The second dimension is, as Dr. Kulkarni said, it's okay when the company is on the growth path, leadership, you can say. But the most difficult part of the strategic leadership is when the company is on the downswing or when the economy is on the downswing. We had a similar situation in ICFI. Till 2007, our top line was 1,000 crores. Then came the 2008 financial debacle, global financial debacle. Our top line slumped to 300 crores. But we still managed. We floated. There were not mass terminations, were not much. We did not close down any university. We continued. Of course, we tightened our belts. Increments were slightly reduced, but we continued. Today again, we have come back. We are close to the top line. Today we have comfortable reserves. So this is a critical area of one of the strategic leaderships you have to manage. If you now juxtapose this to the government, to the macro level, as a country as a whole, it reflects in every aspect what is the present government doing. How are we managing the strategic leadership with the global complexities? We are continue to buy Russian oil. We are continue to be friends with America. We will never wilted under the pressure of tariff escalation. We managed to diversify. Day first I read in Economic Times, our exports have been diversified now. We entered into new markets. We are accelerating our agreements with free trade agreements with different countries. So strategically, America was under the impression that we are totally dependent and we may wilt, but we did not wilt. There were 25% tariffs and 25% additional tariffs. Initially, for 2 weeks or 3 weeks, the exporters in Ludhiana and Tirupattur had suffered, but government immediately came out with a quantitative easing plan to take care of the stock. So today those exports have been diversified. This is the national level. So basically, strategic leadership calls basically for willpower, ethical values, honesty of purpose, and a clear planning. These are required. If you are not having ethical values, you can be any leader, but that will not be remembered. You will not be remembered. So basically, these are the your young people you try to cultivate. And second thing is, as Dr. Kulkarni said, we need to prepare you for 2047. That is the job of ICFI universities, at least this in Jharkhand. That's why we are taking these initiatives of skilling you, reskilling you, putting you into the mold, so that the moment you step out, your skills do not become outdated. The knowledge doesn't become outdated. We are doing our best so that we want you to understand that if you want to have a leadership role, you need to constantly upgrade your skills and knowledge. Otherwise, you will be a Me Too manager or also an athlete. That's not the case. So take the good things in the lecture, which I think must be very beneficial. I thank Dr. Kulkarni for a very thought-provoking lecture, and good day to all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Can I please request our IT team to play the video in honor of late Sri NJY sir? Thank you, everyone. To pay homage and put the ellipsis and a continuity to what our founder sir's mission was. Today, we have donated 100 units of blood and 100 of our students participated in this great cause. So glad for everyone. We have to, and we will continue to contribute to the corporate social responsibility in the state and across the nation. So, Sadar Hospital from Ranchi and Latehar, the people, the doctors, the health specialists came from both the places. They helped our student, they guided our student, and it went very well. We thank the health personnel from both the hospitals. Again, to celebrate Viksit Bharat, we have initiated the workshop, 2-day workshop on 27th and 28th. That will continue for tomorrow also to develop the entrepreneurship and skills in our students. And for that also, I thank the team IIC and the guidance from headquarters and special contribution from Sainath sir for his presence. Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot. Now, as we move forward, it is our responsibility to surprise the students with something new, which we have introduced for your betterment, for your guidance. As we honor our founders' belief in empowering students through opportunities and innovation, we now proceed to officially release the iNaukri. Now, what is iNaukri? iNaukri is a comprehensive and insightful career intelligence guide designed to empower students with clear understanding of ever-evolving world of work. Conceived as both an online and offline newsletter, it serves as a dynamic platform that brings together global, local perspective on employment trends. Our focus is on offering global and local job market trends to forecast the jobs and the job market, to analyze the gaps, and then again to let our students and faculty have a channel both for guidance and to be guided. So can I please request all our dignitaries, invited guests, to stand in their respective places and release iNaukri. And I'll expect everybody to give a great round of applause for this. I think it continues. Thank you, Ujjwal, for doing a great job in designing it and again following the instructions by your faculty guides. Now, following the appreciation, NJY University Jharkhand profoundly applauds the student achievers this year, and they will be given their reward today itself during the event. The first student and the most appreciated in last few months is Miss Habiba Sahi from MBA third semester. For being selected as one of the 28 national finalists in UGC anti-ragging national contest that had the impact on Instagram threads, digital poster category, chosen from over 550 entries nationwide, and she also distinguished herself as one finalist from Eastern India, bringing recognition to both the university and the region. This accomplishment was achieved under the effective mentorship of Dr. Pekha Chaturvedi, who is the coordinator of NEP in our university. Our guidance has given a lot of encouragement to the student who has brought the laurel to the university. The university also expresses the gratitude to our Honorable Vice Chancellor sir and Registrar sir who provided the platform of encouragement and opportunity to the students and the faculty. Thank you, Habiba. You made us proud. And a great round of applause for girls. Okay. Make it louder. We never fail to recognize the efforts of the student in the activities which they conduct in the university. They win laurels, they win awards, and many a times they go visit places, different universities, different clubs, different associations, and bring laurels back to the university. So, without further ado, I'll invite all the students one by one, and I'll request Chancellor Sir and the chief guest for the evening today to give the medallions to the winners of the recent achievements. Nayan Kumar from BCA. Nayan was selected as the Google Ambassador from our university, and he has been a traveling manager in 4th Asian Senior Athletics Championship held in Jharkhand, 18 to 27 October. Please, your claps must not die. Aditya Prakash from BCA, who has achieved the honor of being the Google Student Ambassador from our university. Recently, we conducted an event, the Jharkhand Foundation Day, and our Vice Chancellor sir promised Shreyanshu to appreciate him for his brilliant contribution to the event. So a great round of applause for Shreyanshu. Abhijit Kumar from BBA. He did. Abhijit Kumar from BBA. Is he here? Abhijit from BBA. Roshni Kumari from BALLB 5. She showcased her exceptional essay skills in Jharkhand Foundation Day event. Although she was not selected in top 3, but she had a different idea which was portrayed very well. Ayush Sharma from BCA BSNAI, 3rd semester. Ayush Sharma, is he here? Yes. Ayush is honored to be the speaker at Google Gemini AI seminar organized by University students. Nitin Kumar Batul, BCA-CS, again being honored to be the Google Gemini AI seminar speaker. The last one, Anand Kumar, again honored to be the speaker in Google Gemini AI. Can I ask all the winners to take their places in front so that you can have a group photograph? If I may request the faculty members to join for the photograph, please. Runa ma'am, Ridhani sir, Rita ma'am, and all the other faculties. Do not wait for your names to come. Please, I request you. It's a humble request. If you can join for a group photograph. As a gesture of gratitude and respect, may I request Honorable Chancellor Sir to offer the bouquet as our love and respect to our chief guest of the evening. Can I please request Honorable Vice Chancellor Sir to offer a memento which represents the pride of Jharkhand, the Dogra to our chief guest. Can I please request Damodar Reddy sir? Fine. Yes. Okay. He is always there in the events, so I had his name in my mind. I'll request Chancellor sir to. It's a token of love and gratitude from our end to you, sir, and we are really confident to have you in the event today. Thank you, sir. Thank you for your interview, sir. Shrinatu, if you can help. Thank you. As we come towards the closing of the event today, may I please invite our respected registrar sir to come and give his vote of thanks to the gathering. Thank you, sir. The stage is all yours. Thank you, Amit. Honorable Chancellor, Dr. G.R.K. Rao, Honorable Chief Guest, Dr. Nitin Madan Kulkarni, IS, Additional Secretary. Honorable Chief Guest, Dr. Nitin Kumar, Nitin Madan Kulkarni, IS, Additional Chief Secretary to the Government of Jharkhand. Honorable Vice Chancellor, Colonel Dr. Ranjit Singh, Professor Sainath sir, distinguished deans and esteemed faculty, respected head of the department, beloved students, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening to one and all. It's both an honor and a profound privilege to stand before this august gathering to deliver the vote of thanks on this occasion of the NJY Memorial Lecture, a flagship academic tradition of our university, and a moment when we collectively pause to pay homage for the vision, the integrity, and the intellect coverage of our founder, the NJY, whose ideas continues to illuminate our path. At the very outset, I extend our deepest and most heartfelt gratitude to our chief guest, Dr. Nitin Madan Kulkarni, IAS, for blessing the university with his distinguished presence and for delivering a keynote address of exceptional depth and clarity. I wish to express my sincere appreciation to our Honorable Chancellor, Dr. G.R.K. Rao, whose visionary stewardship continues to strengthen the academic fabric of the institutions. Thus, your ceremonial address today, marked by wisdom, philosophical depth, and a forward-looking perspective. My deepest thanks also goes to our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Colonel Dr. Ranjit Singh, a leader whose disciplined clarity, academic foresight, and unwavering commitment to students' development continue to propel the institution towards excellence. I also actually thank Professor Sainath for his presence in this occasion. On behalf of IPA University Jharkhand, I extend my heartfelt thanks to each member of the audience for your gracious presence and for contributing to the success clarity of the significance of this event. Thank you. Everybody stay in your place, please. I request dignitaries to be on the stage. And all the students to stand in attention for the national anthem. भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड़ उत्कल बंगा हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तब जय गाथा जन गण मंगल दायक जय हे भाग्य विधाता जय 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 Thank you, everybody.